right now we were shortly watching this new a new hot new NJF. I'm gonna start saying that now. Hot new NJF clip. He was just on Tucker's show, or Tucker's show. We saw like the first 10 minutes of it, and then he started doing the ad read, so kind of tapped out of it. But also we have our own show to do, so right now we're kind of on this like high of like serotonin right now, because we uploaded a Nick related clip, and we're probably gonna upload this one right after it. And it has like almost 40 views, and that's pretty good for our.
No, we already hit 42.
Or we're at 42.
Nigga, we're at 44. Holy shit.
We're at 44 allegedly, supposedly. So sounds like
my rabbi reviewed this too.
Sounds like we're I guess the meta right now is we gotta double down on talking about NJF, and talking bad about the Catholic Church, I guess. I don't know. Do you think people clicked on the video because it was NJF, or because we were talking bad about the
both?
Or you were talking? I was just saying like, oh, it is what it is, but
both. Because I think I was more emotionally invested into Catholicism than you were, or I don't know what you identify as, but
what do you identify as? Because you're the one who's
Well, I'm still a Christian. I still have my still have this, but I don't know. Like I like the Western expression of the faith, but the Eastern expression of the faith is a little bit more attractive to me right now.
Do you ever feel like you're gonna come back? Maybe you're gonna have like a come to Jesus moment, not like literally, but you're gonna like, you might come back around to being like pro Vatican, pro Catholic, pro Matt Frad, pro Matt what's the other guy called? The Porky guy?
Porky?
John Pork.
Pro John. You talking about Michael Lofton?
Michael Lofton.
Fat ass. Dude, no, because the thing with me is like, here's my thing. I'm not against institutions. Because a lot of these conspiracy theorists, they're like fucking retards. And they think that if we took down the government, the church, the big companies, that all of a sudden things are going to get better. I'm not one of those fucking conspiracy guys that think, if we take down the government and the church and the banks, everything's going to get better. No, it's not. Humans cannot live without institutions, especially those of the melanin, right? So it's like, we need institutions to exist, but if I'm going to like, I can't quite put it into words yet because I'm trying to like study this shit more, but like there's something about the Eastern expression of the faith that to me feels more authentic and not just kind of, you shouldn't just base everything on feelings, but there's something about the Eastern expression of the faith that just feels more grounded. It feels more like because they have a big emphasis on asceticism, and they're not like, they don't care about like, oh, have you read, let's say, Thomas Aquinas or anything. They're like, as long as you're reading your Bible, as long as you're reading your Psalter, we read Psalters too, by the way, for Catholics. As long as you're doing that, as long as you're doing the Jesus prayer, like as long as you're consistent with your mysticism and your asceticism, then you're good. You don't need to do all that extra shit. And they're big on like fasting. They're big on like liturgy, like divine liturgy. They're big on stuff like that. And just like, what was our favorite church to go to when we were still Christians? What was our favorite church to go to? You don't have to say the specific one, but what kind of church was our favorite to go to?
Oh, you already know what my answer is gonna be.
Yeah, that's why I want you. The Byzantine Catholic Church. You know what I mean?
So why don't you just become Byzantine and not like go all the way to the other continent?
Well, because I find it like there's things about Catholicism, like the papacy, that like I've been kind of like not confused about, but I've kind of like questioned like the fact that like the Pope can be infallible. It's like, I don't think any man other than Jesus Christ can be infallible. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. Like now I see why the old Catholic Church broke off from the current Roman Catholic Church that we have today. You know what I mean? And I mean, even look at the set of Acontis. Like when you look at like everything that happened like after the Second Vatican Council, it's I don't know. Like I feel like there's too much like ecclesiastical, like what's the word I'm looking for? Ecclesiastical like rules or whatever, or like there's too much like ecclesiology that like opens the doors to like other religions and shit. Because like, okay, if you're not gonna sit here and it's like when Pope Leo said "Happy Diwali" to the fucking Indians, or when he opened up the prayer room for the Muslims, it's like you just spat in the face of every Christian, Catholic Christians especially, that suffered under Islamic rule. You know what I mean? How would you feel? How would you feel? Pretend your family was killed because of Islam, and now the guy that leads your church is opening up a prayer room for them.
It kind of reminds me of we're speaking about recent things. It kind of reminds me of like when Pete Davidson went to that comedy festival, and he was like basically performing for all these people that allegedly did that attack that his father died in. So
Yeah,
I guess it'll be something like that. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it just seems like you're because like some people, like the Pope, like what do they call them, Pope splainers, they'll try to sit there and be like, oh well, he's trying to open up towards Muslims so they can start like Muslims are never gonna worship our God unless we either force them to, or unless they're like unless we force them to, or unless they have like a conversion of the spirit, something like that. But yeah, Muslims, like when you get into the mind of a Muslim, like the Muslim doesn't, like when you get into the mind of the Muslim, there's nothing there. Do you know what I mean? Like they have a very simplistic view of God, and their view of God is like, they just don't view God the way we do. They view God more as just like this distant deity that you can never understand. Now, don't get me wrong, like no one can ever understand God fully, but everything we do in Christianity is in some form to try to understand God, right? Now the problem with the Western expression of the faith is that we're too like autistic. Like we want to understand like every little tiny detail about God, and then it starts leading to, atheism and shit like that, or some form of like mysticism that isn't of the church. Like that's the reason why I was so attracted to like a lot of the esoteric shit, because a lot of it's like, like, oh, like why do we have dreams? Why do we have this? Why do we do It's like, you know what I mean? The Orthodox Church, the way they look at dreams is like, oh, like it's most likely from the devil. If you have dreams, it's most likely from the devil. So, try not to pay too much attention to it. And then look.
So what you're saying is that the problem with the Catholic Church is that, or the Catholic faith in general, is that they take too much into account to make itself presentable to the modern world.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like they try too hard to follow the modern world.
Like they try too hard to like catch up, and they don't want to, just keep it like the simple thing. They feel like they need to like pander to modern society. Like
they'll sit there and
it's like they're clout chasing.
They're cloud chasing.
That's what it felt like with the ice thing. It felt like they're at least the there's not just Catholics or anything, but because I was talking about that in the last episode, that the reason why people like Father Gary, all these people, they're making well, what's up they're why they always lean towards one way is because they're servicing the needs of their community. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily like they're being like they don't think that these things are bad because it's fulfilling the needs of like their immediate community.
But see, the issue with that, and I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, but the issue with that idea is that not everything that the community wants or needs is good in the eyes of God.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get onto. Like they don't see like the whole big picture. They just go, well, it's like my parish, they're suffering, blah blah. Like,
how do you think Father Gary would how do you think he would approach marijuana? Because I've seen a lot of Orthodox priests, like they condemn marijuana, like stay the fuck away from marijuana. What do you think his take on marijuana would be?
Honestly, I have no idea, and I don't want to like put words in his mouth.
I think what he would most likely say is, oh, there's some people that need it for medical reasons, but we have to try to stay away.
Okay, well, I don't know if he's like totally lived out. Maybe he is. He was at Logan Square. So
yeah, I think so.
But
on some level, I think he is, like, not to the point of like heresy, but I think he's pretty lived out. Like a lot of these Catholic priests that like to serve like the minority communities, I think they're on some level lived out.
It's because like the thing is with like it's like Mexicans, they're like conservative, but like they don't know it, or they don't know to put like that label on themselves. Like my dad barely figured out.
Yeah, I know.
My
My
dad,
my
but it's because they're like, oh well, good thing about it, like, you know, Mexicans, you know, they're pro family, they're
the women
Catholic.
usually stay home.
Yeah, the women usually stay home. Um, they still believe in like macho
Machismo,
machismo, um,
hard work.
hard work, all those things. And but the only thing, allegedly, they say the reason why they still lean left is because a lot of
Immigration.
them don't vote, and immigration, and also in general. I don't know how true this is, 'cause I watch it briefly, but allegedly, like, a lot of the Spanish, or Mexican or whatever, like, news stations, they don't ever show any, like, it's basically propaganda, but like they wouldn't notice it because that's the only thing they watch.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say. I think a lot of them are ignorant to the fact that a lot of them are ignorant. Like they're not politically inclined. Like most Mexicans are not politically inclined.
Until it like immediately like affects them.
And the ones that are politically inclined, what are they? Liberals. They become liberals.
They're like second generation. They already know English.
Yeah, and if they are first generation, they always become liberals.
It's because like the way how you gotta assimilate into like American culture if you're a minority, like the only way you can assimilate is by being liberal, because if you try to assimilate into like the conservative right wing culture, like the white, well, I don't know if this is good or bad or not, but like the whites aren't really gonna accept you. They're still gonna be like, yeah, but you're still, you know. But then, like the liberals are be like, yeah, you know, we're all just one melting pot. You know, we're all just need to come.
I don't
together.
know. I always feel like there are a lot of Hispanic goipers and shit. Like there are a lot of Hispanic guys that are right wing or right leaning. It's just
But the thing is that they kind of have to like stand their ground,
yeah.
and everything. But